This is Jason Shadrick with PremierGuitar.com, and we're in Chicago at the House of Blues, and we're with Billy Sheehan, who's going to walk us through the rig he's using on Mr. Big's summer tour. So Billy, thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
My pleasure, Premier Guitar. Thank you for having me.
So first, let's start with your bass. So it's your Yamaha signature bass, so tell us a little bit about it.
Well, this is the newest and latest version of the Yamaha Attitude bass. This is the third version. Quick summary of some of the differences. Has a different pickup here. They designed a special neck position pickup. Each pickup has its own output. Before it was a wooden thing where we had to use a kind of a jack that you use on an end pin on an acoustic guitar, but we always had a little trouble with those jacks, so I ended up getting the regular metal piece in here that they do the regular jacks on. Makes it a little bit more easy to service in case of a problem. New pickup here, really great feature. On the back we have 3 screws in the back. The neck goes way through like all the Attitude basses, but we actually went in at an angle here. I guess it's some patented new Yamaha thing that they do, and it actually pulls the end grain of the neck up into the slot of the end grain of the body, and they combine together. And you can actually loosen them, play the bass, try it out, and see how it feels. Tighten them up, and it's a quantum leap of springiness and aliveness. And they also are doing the artificially aged wood on this as a process Yamaha spent literally millions of dollars on. They use it for a lot of different woods for their guitars and some of their other instruments as well, but that's what the body's made out of.
So it's not really a relict wood, but it's just aged, I guess?
It's artificially aged, so it's, they determine some of the sap crystallizes in some of the wood, and various things happen to it over time, and they were able to mimic that in this process they do on the wood. So it's a pretty awesome sounding bass. When I first got it, I played it for about 3 hours. And it's got the Hipshot detuner, of course, on all my basses. This was a prototype, so the nut is a little low, so I haven't had time to fix it, so I put a little piece of paper in there to raise the G-string up. Hotel room repairs. Everybody musician's got to know them. And that's...
And what type of strings are you using on this bass?
Always Rotosound. Rotosound, I actually do my own custom set, which is the basic Rotosound strings, the RS66, but we do the G string as a 43 instead of a 45, a little bit lighter, a little easier bend, and the E string as a 110 instead of a 105. So it actually evens out the string-to-string tension across a scale of tension from the G string to the E string. It actually evens out a little bit better, makes them a little bit more uniform. So that's a quick summary of the bass. I'm using Line 6 wireless. Line 6 bought out the X-Wire digital wireless company, and they were legendary wireless, so now Line 6 is manufacturing that same circuitry. I haven't had a bit of problem with it anywhere. It's been awesome. So that's my bass and wireless. You'll see that pedal board over there. It's basically Taurus pedals, but in a different format. It's the same idea as basically MIDI triggered pedals. And I trigger a little synth here. It's a Roland Sonic Cell. And I can switch through programs and get different sounds for different things. It just helps, like when I use the drill, it's got to be low end going on, so I hit the low C note, and Green Tinted 60s mine too. When I play up a high thing with the Paul, I need the low, so I do it with that. And a couple of other things. There have been flute parts and piano parts I've done it over the years when necessary, so whatever. And this is kind of my new setup. It's all Hartke stuff. I was with Ampeg for many, many years, and the company went through a lot of changes, and unfortunately we had to part ways. And Larry Hartke was kind enough to call me and ask me if I wanted to check out his stuff. I did. It's rock solid. I actually opened up the cabinets to look inside. I'm like that. I always open up a piece of gear whenever I get it to look inside. And the cabinets have that original cotton batting that you saw in the old SVTs in the early days. They don't have anymore. And the speakers are put into metal wood nuts that are clamped into the wood, so it isn't just wood screws arbitrarily jammed into plywood. They're really mounted properly, so I'm really impressed with the quality control on the Hartke stuff. I'm using the LH1000 for low end, another LH1000 for the pedals. I use the LH55 or the 5500 HA5500 for my high end. My Pierce preamp is still here. I've got I think 3 of these left and 2 of the non-modified ones left, and that's the end of it after that. So the Pierce preamp is just a supremely great distortion and clean that I use. The clean is always on, the distortion comes on and off as necessary. I use Ashley Audio compression on the clean channel of the Pierce and also on the low frequency amp. Decimator, great noise reduction, really excellent stuff. It's colorless and works wonderfully. Here, a little crossover thing for out of the Pierce preamp. Before I go into here, I trim lows off, and I get my lows to the second pickup off that bass through a separate amp.
So one pickup's going to the top set of amps, and the other pickup's going to the bottom set.
Exactly. So therefore, I need two wirelesses and two everything, basically. It's a little bit of a pain in the neck, but still. A lot of other companies and instruments had done it. The Rickenbacker Rico sound, that's double pickup to dual output. All the original Alembic basses had the double output as well. So it's not a completely crazy idea. And in practice, it works really well to always keep low end happening no matter what else is going on. So there's always a super deep low end amp pushing air around, locking in with a bass drum. So whatever other shenanigans are going on, we're doing okay. Cool.
All right, Billy. Well, I think thank you so much for taking us through your rig, and it looks complicated, I guess, but it's pretty straight ahead. One output here, one output there.
Exactly.
So
it all somehow makes sense in the end. So that's what matters. But thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
This is Jason Shadrick with PremierGuitar.com.